Last question is always some variation. If you could go back toward the start of your writing career, anywhere you liked that would be useful to you, and give yourself some advice that would have made a significant difference for you and might make a difference for everybody watching or listening right now, what would you go back and tell yourself?
Sure, yeah. So good question. And I think part of it was something I said earlier about, and I'm not going to regurgitate. I'll give a new answer. That the genre that you think you might be in is, or you think you might be best for your writing, is not necessarily the one that your natural voice is in, and where you end up, kind of finding success. So that's one thing I said earlier. I think my favorite piece of writing advice, just for any writer at any level, is just trust your reader. I think that I remember once I kind of learned that and what that really meant, which is hard to go into full detail here, but I think that's something with almost every sentence I write, every page I write, especially writing for kids. I always keep that in mind because, it's funny, we were talking about critique groups before, and I am in a lot of them. And sometimes I'll take my work to a critique group, and it'll be mostly writers who write for adults or not necessarily for kids. And they'll kind of say, is that sentence too long? Or you have like 3 commas in that sentence and so forth. So it's at a sentence level. It's at a for kids, don't talk down to kids and so forth kind of level. But it's also at sometimes early writers will over-explain things. So like, oh, they're not going to get that. Like, not even for kids, just for any, readership. And I think my writing changed when I realized that, well, trust your reader means, the way you dispense information in your sentences and in your story and in your, paragraph by paragraph, but chapter by chapter, scene by scene. If you keep that in mind, it changes the way, and I'm not going to do a whole writing course on it, but it changes the way you dispense information and that sort of thing. And so that's my favorite piece of writing advice, is just trust your reader, because it's something I always have to keep in mind for myself.